And during the presentations today, we will be covering different personas. The first persona is Tom. And in this entire digital thread, which Carsten just explained, Tom in this scenario today is responsible for product management. As a head of product management in this scenario today, Tom needs to manage the entire process to, on the one hand side, capture ideas, but also to evaluate ideas, right? With a key goal to make the right investment decisions to drive product success. And the key needs for Tom in this early stage in product development is to really manage product ideas, understand the voice of customer, but also understand what the competition is doing, right? And understand the strengths and weaknesses of his competitors. And he has a need to track the path from the idea to a specific product requirement. However, if you look at the current challenges people like Tom in product management face, they often have the situation that idea management systems, so the areas where you, for example, identify product improvement needs, right, are often disconnected to requirement management systems. So understanding how an idea is getting more mature in the life cycle, right, until it becomes a requirement, you cannot track that path as of today. And what we also observed in the end user interviews is that our product managers often lack a single source of truth for product requirements, right? So our end user research indicates that product managers often have, for example, the requirements management systems where some requirements are maintained, but on the other hand side, there is basically also where innovations are maintained in Excels, right? Innovations are maintained in email inboxes, right? But again, there is no single source of truth for managing these insights. And what is also problematic is when you have a product out there already in the market and you have a new idea to add a new feature, right? Then it is also often very difficult to evaluate the impact of a change in the early phase of product development. And what we want to show you in a few minutes is on how our SAP Enterprise Product Development in this scenario can help people like Tom to achieve better success rates when launching either a new product, when introducing a new product to the market, but also when you introducing new versions of your product or new features when you have digital services, for example, right, to improve the success rates. We want to show how Tom can detect non-viable ideas earlier, right, and ultimately help Tom to improve the product experience of this product. To address these benefits within EPD, we have two major capabilities. You're probably aware of the existing capability we already have, which is our requirements management capability, which enables requirements engineers to create a very detailed requirement models, leveraging a model-based systems engineering approach. And this is what we will talk about in a few more minutes, a bit more in detail. But today, I'm also very happy that we are launching a brand new capability, which we call innovation management. And the innovation management capability is there to really manage the very early stage in product development when it comes to collecting new ideas and evaluating these new ideas before you pass them on in the life cycle of your product. And that is a brand new capability. And to tell you more about this capability, I would like to invite Ingmarie on stage to walk us through this launch for innovation management. Ingmarie, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So please flip over to the next slide. Yes. So innovation management. So that's all about capturing ideas and later also feedback. I will get back to that, to process that and pass it on to downstream processes. So why should you care about ideas? Why should you work constructively and in a structured way with that? Research shows that only very innovative companies are profitable. That's one major advantage with working with ideas in a very structured way. Another big advantage is that people who submit their ideas, they become a lot more engaged with their own company. And that is, of course, also a very big positive benefit. So with our EPD Innovation Management, what can you do with it? So our feature highlights are you can turn ideas into concepts faster. You have a very structured process, as I said. And that way you can manage the innovation pipeline very well. As I said, you drive innovation enthusiasm among the employees. Always very good, of course, if people like what they do, they are engaged and participating in the company activities. With our application, you have a possibility, it's a basic possibility right now, but we plan to expand on that you can collaborate on the ideas that have been submitted. The ideas, they can be, or they are scored by experts. And I will show you a bit more on the next slide, but we have currently another EPD application called Requirements Acquisition. And with that, you collect feedback and transform that into needs. And we are about to merge these two applications, Innovation Management and Requirements Acquisition. So it's possible in the same application to collect feedback and ideas and turn them into needs that can be passed on to downstream processes. Please, next slide. And here you see this funnel. So this is the way we normally would work. So we start with an idea campaign. You set up a campaign homepage and you invite people to it, and they submit their ideas. They can then be evaluated by experts. So here we have the feedback and the ideas. There are fewer and fewer. That's what the funnel goes and becoming now more and more narrow. They're being evaluated. And this is how far we are today with the application. But as I said, we plan to integrate with requirements acquisition so that we can generate needs out of these ideas and then pass them on in the funnel here and in the process. So we can, in the end, hand over to requirements management and then continue in our development process with these requirements. And with that, I would like to go into the system. So I will share my own screen. And here, go into the system. I hope you can see. Can someone nod or something? You can see it?
Oh, yes, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay. So here you see the 6 tiles that make out innovation management. And in innovation, I also want to mention that this is our new Horizon theme, which we think is rather nice, and it's very easy to work with it. So here you see the 6 tiles, as I said. There are 4 different roles in innovation management. We have first the product manager. That person would work in manage campaigns and manage ideas. Then we have the very important submitter role, of course, the people who hand in their ideas. They would have the innovation homepage as their tile. As I've mentioned a couple of times, we have experts who evaluate the ideas based on a questionnaire. They would work in this My Evaluations. And the 4th role that we have is the administrator. That person would work in the settings where you can set phases and also questionnaires, and would also work in this innovation management data security where you can anonymize data, for example. So let's go through a simple process here with the innovations. Let's go into manage campaigns. Here you can see all campaigns that have been created. You have a search filter up here. You can search for any Google-like search for any term. You can search for the life cycle. That's a more technical status of the campaign. You can search for the phase. These ones you can set yourself, or the administrator would define the phase, and the product manager can customize the campaigns that they want to do. We have a starting date and end date. And down here you see, as I said, the campaigns that have been created. Let's go into one of them. And here you see in the header here, general information. You can describe it. This is a text field. You can choose your text choose the text yourself, of course. It would make sense to write what the campaign is about, try to work up some engagement and some enthusiasm to participate in this campaign. It's also possible, for example, to write how these ideas will be evaluated and scored. If there will be some kind of winner who will win something, it would be possible to write that here as well. You see the start date, the end date. You see here the evaluation questionnaire. That's a number of questions according to which the idea will be scored. And then we have the experts that are assigned to this campaign. Down here, you see the phases. In this campaign, we have a very simple phase scheme. We have a collection phase, an evaluation phase, and a finalization. Here, we only invited 3 submitters. It would normally be a lot more, but here we only have 3. And here we see the ideas that have been submitted to this campaign already. And we see that already now experts have been assigned. So that was the managed campaigns. Just for your information, I will go in briefly in here to the managed ideas. That is more or less a kind of database of all ideas that have been submitted for all campaigns. And here you can also do a bit of a search. It's also possible to download this information into Excel if you want to process that even more. This download to Excel, it's absolutely not our final stage. We have on our roadmap to integrate to SAP Analytics Cloud to get a lot better and a lot more sophisticated reporting. But as I said, that's on our roadmap. The workaround for now is Excel download. So that was the product manager who works in managed campaigns and managed ideas. Now we'll go into the role of the submitter, and that person would probably only have this tile on the Fiori Launchpad. So we go in here. And here you see the newest campaign that was submitted to which you were invited. You get a list of your own ideas that you have submitted, and you have a list here of also new ideas that were submitted to the campaigns where you are invited. And we have here a kind of top scoring list as well, who has submitted the most ideas. And down here, you see the campaigns to which you are invited. We'll go in here soon. And here you see also the ideas that have been submitted to the campaigns where you were invited. So let's go into a campaign here. Here you see the same information that we saw in managed campaigns. It's the general information about the campaign. And we see also here the ideas. And here we have the nice button, Create Idea. And here you can, let's say, demo about idea. Can very simply submit your idea. And you can also upload some images if you want to. And that's it. We, on our roadmap, we also have to, we have that you will not only be able to upload images, but also other documents like Word documents, PowerPoints, and so on. So that is, as I said, on our roadmap, will come very soon. But here you can choose to save this idea as a draft if you want to continue to work on it later, or you can publish it. And now we're publishing that one. So it was published successfully. And here, if you want to, you can create another idea to the same campaign. You can also comment actually on your own idea. And also the people in the community who were invited to these campaigns, they can also leave comments. And that way you can have a cooperation within the community. Let's move on here in our tiles. So now I go out of the role as the submitter and I go into the role as an expert. So I'm a person who is very knowledgeable about what this campaign is about. And I've been assigned to these ideas. So now I want to go in here and I see there is something to do here. I can also filter for this if I want to. I go in here in the idea that I should evaluate. Here I see again the information about the campaign, so I know what it's all about. Here I click on evaluate. And then I get up the questions from the questionnaire that I talked about before. In this case, there are 5 questions. Is the idea feasible from a technology standpoint? Okay, yeah, it's a great one. Is the idea viable from a business standpoint? Unclear, great technically, but I don't know if we can make money with it. Can the team do this on its own? Sure. Is the problem space big enough to break even a fraction at the market? We'll see. Is there a clearly defined persona and customer segment? Yeah, there would be. So you would score here. And let's see, I just need to move this. I need to save. And here I can also leave a comment for the community. For example, great idea, have a look, for example. Alrighty, so now I've evaluated this idea. And if we just go back briefly to manage campaigns, for example, here we go in. And here we see all the ideas. Here you can choose also to see the score that has been set. And here you see then the scores for all the ideas that have been evaluated. And as said, you can download this information to Excel if you want to process that further for now. Later, SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, we have one more tile that I wanted to show you. It's the settings. So this is the tile that the administrator would work with. And here you can do currently 2 different things. We plan to expand this one as well. But as I said, today we can do 2 different things. You can define evaluation questionnaires. And that is also very simple. You just click on create. And here you write a name for a questionnaire, a description, what is it all about. And here you can add questions. And currently with the current release, it will only be possible to score these ideas between 0 and 10. But on our roadmap, we have also to expand in this area to offer a lot more different ways to score the ideas. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. So that was a quick overview of innovation management. And with that, I would hand back to Ismail.
Thank you so much, Ingmarie. I'm very happy about this new capability in EPD. What I would like to just add before we continue with requirements management, we are also about to implement SAP EPD Innovation Management internally within our product development organization, because we want to use the capability to collect ideas from our partners, from our customers, from our end users on how the product can be improved, right? So the campaigns you saw are that flexible so that you can also use that for software as basically a campaign, and that's something what I'm really happy about, because this will enable us to make decisions on where we allocate our investments more data driven in the future. Once you have identified a new idea, right? Once you know how a product needs to evolve, right? We need to work on the maturity of that idea, right? We need to add more details. We need to specify a little bit more, and that is when the requirements management capability comes into the picture. The requirements management capability in EPD is a central repository where you can work on requirements with your internal development partners, but also with suppliers and business and other business partners, right? But the key idea of a requirements management solution is really to have a requirements-driven product development approach, where you also in the early stage of that product development, at any given point of time, understand also the impact, for example, of a new requirement on all the other business objects you have in the digital thread. Okay, this is how the idea management with the requirements management, like Marie explained, tightly integrates with each other. And now what I would like to do is I would like to also just explain, again, coming back to what I said earlier, our goal is to establish this digital thread in the cloud. And in order to accelerate our product roadmap, we are also establishing SAP Enterprise Product Development as a platform for our partners to extend each capability. Here we will have Frank and Bastian joining me now also to explain how they are expanding the requirements management capability so that we can also use the requirements management in the context of ETO and CTO plus type of scenarios, right? Where it is extremely important, again, to manage requirements so that you can overall also reduce the time to quote, right? And that is, I think, the key value proposition Frank and Bastian from Zenit as our partner in this requirements management area we'll talk about.